Bill Lawrence has lost counting how many television episodes he's made at this point. Spin City had 145 episodes and He Tallies and Scrubs had 182 episodes. Before creating Ted Lasso or Shrinking, he did 1 season Clone High, 3 seasons of Undateable, and 6 seasons Cougar Town. So, it should be around 1,000 by now, he reasoned. However, real Mark career life is that the prolific showrunner can now watch a sitcom, and if any of his 3 kids pause after a prank setup, Lawrence may deliver punchline, 9 times out 10. It's like my magic trick for my kids, she says. They're like, oh, well, you read this script, and I'm like, I definitely haven't read the new episode of Night Court, or whatever. It's just what I do. While Lawrence jokes that boyish looks can be deceiving, the 54-year-old titan, whose THR crowned him for his contributions to TV, has gotten serious about the lessons of early rise, vice he for young writers. And the pride and sting of having an Emmy-winning shot going without it. They're one piece of advice I hear give early in every room run, which, the job to write what think funny, not what think funny. It's a thriving philosophy, but I got fired from my first 3 great jobs: Friends, Child Meets World, and Nanny. All rightly so. But here's the interesting thing: everyone comes here like, wow, I hope I can finally tell my story. People don't come out with the greed, dude, I hope one day I can write on someone else's show for years. The lesson you need to learn is that someone created this show and they have often invested a great deal of time personally, and it will be present in their voices. So if you don't line up very quickly with, I'm writing what this man or woman sees as world of the show, it's dangerous for you because you're not doing work. You've been very open to your principles. Did you always exist, or did it come with age and success? I've been really lucky, and it's easy to look at the mistakes you've made when things are going well. But when I broke up with Friends and season 2 was the biggest show the world, I was in a fetal position on a futon, my tie flat. I don't fully understand how the TV works. There used to be a cliché that I thought was ridiculous, but these ex-writers used to tell staff writers, don't talk for the first few weeks until you get it. Now, looking back, something happened in my marriage and with my kids that was bugging me. I realized that I was never good at reading the room. I got better at this. At 27, you created a hit show in Spin City with your mentor, David Goldberg. How has your naivety helped or hurt you? I'm going to tell you the weirdest thing, which is that my daughter was successful at such a young age and brought us even closer because I can speak to her as someone who makes certain mistakes and doesn't realize how fleeting it can be. The other day I told her a story that was very Sopranos-esque and I was behaving badly. I 27-year-old with a loft in New York, and that was when Upfronts still thing. We went circles and he said, Bill, there are 20 people in Hollywood and you're so young, but when you act too badly or too well, you've reached a level where those 20 will understand it the next 12 hours. I'm barely awake and seem really hungry, and he's like, everything is affecting his career now. Anything else, man? I suspect the fact that you still remember it also means that maybe he is afraid of you. It's just that these things are not taught. The craziest thing about this job, and that's why I love supporting and teaching the WGA showrunner training program, is that most people are completely ignorant all environmental stuff, a downsizing, being in charge of group dynamics, charge other people's livelihoods. It was very helpful for the young people to learn. The other big advantage for me was that, anyway, I became super conscious, super fast about the cyclical nature, not just Hollywood, but your career in Hollywood. My joke is that my voice is my voice. I've been doing the same thing for years. Sometimes it's not cool then again. I couldn't have predicted that at 54 I would have another window. Oh, it's great doing comedy with the emotional undertone again. Have you always been able to maintain that confidence that your comedy brand will return to fashion? I can say that the biggest hit of my career later in my life was with 2019 ABC drama, Cavalier. I did a lot of garbage shows, they didn't come out because they sucked. And I did shows that were flawed. I said, this is flawed, maybe we can fix it in time, and they got it. Cavalier said, this show is really good, and it was the first show where I was like, I want to do this kind of thing, but I want to do a streaming thing with a slightly bigger budget. When that show doesn't do that, it's like, what's going on? My TV may be. For years you've tried to sell the Carl Hyacin series Bad Monkey, now you're coming up with Vince Vaughn. What has changed your market or your place in it? Look, I grew up with a mentor, Gary, who for whatever reason was antagonistic towards grades and the development process. Being famous wasn't his job. So much so that she made a deal that she didn't take note of, right? Yes, and when Gary left Spin City, he was very supportive of me and said it would be great. Then I went to the next table, read it and said, wait, there are 30 or so people here that I've never seen before, they have ideas. Someone says, they all work for ABC DreamWorks, and I think, oh, that's going to be bad for me. But the guy running my company was one of the first to give me tons of grades. I found that very helpful. Meanwhile, once your ego is at rest, you realize there is more merrier. Grades are only a problem if you don't have the leverage or ability to say, I appreciate that, but I'm not going to do this, because of where you are in your career. So, the answer is, at these gigs I learned empathy for people who have kids, spouses and struggle to hang out, make money just like you. Once you're successful, the way to remove it is to tell manager or a watchdog, you won't be penalized for taking shot at me right now. Ironically, Ted Lasso was a project that you and Jason Sudeikis talked about everywhere and no one ever finished. No one but Apple. Ted Lasso, first time someone brought me my brand. I did other people's shows, maybe added my voice them, but I had seen Ted Lasso Premier League commercials here, it was broad funny. Jason came to me, I want this show have the emotional undercurrent of a show like Scrubs. The tricky thing about it was showing the IP, and whatever we said, the buyers would be right away.